I'm not able to outline a whole novel. The Prancer, plot, or whatever it is, I can typically outline the first 3 or 4 chapters, and then I know where I'm going to end up, and that's either the last scene or the last 3 scenes or the last chapter. But when I do outline and I get to the point where I'm starting to put the pieces together, I do it by location. And this comes from the point that I will admit that years ago I played all the role-playing games and ran the games, Dungeon Master and all that. So I learned at that time that the world operated from location to location to location, as in the gaming term, it's a dungeon crawl. You go from room to hall, from room to hall, from room to hall. And even in the first-person shooter video games, they move from this concealment cover to this concealment cover. So everything is at a location. And so when you are learning to write and put a story together, you don't have to follow anybody else's rules. But I do think that the one thing I can suggest is that if you know where you're going to enter the story, as soon as you can, try to define where you're going to come out of the story. Know who's going to live, who's going to die, if anyone does those things, what happens to the technology or the magic or the fantasy or the ghost or the thriller, whatever happens, know what the theoretical resolution is. And then you're not going to theorize that you're writing a 75,000 word novel and all of a sudden it's 200,000 words. You have a stopping point. And other than that, read everything you can, look at the videos, do online education, but when it comes down to the point, we're all creative in our own way. Do whatever works for you, and I guarantee you that as you do your first novel, it's not how you're going to do your 5th or your 10th novel. But my simple rule is I outline about the first 4 because I guarantee the characters are going to change it. I know where we're going to come out of the dungeon, and then I start connecting the dungeon crawl rooms as I get into the points in between. And that's really it. And I have no idea what the characters are going to do 4 chapters in the future, but if I get a hint, I'll open up a page for that chapter and I'll make 1 or 2 sentences, write it down, I'll close it up, and I'll go back to where I am. And sometimes I have to move those things around and sometimes the stories change. But don't let anyone ever tell you how to plot a book because they're not doing it right as far as you're concerned. And I've had a lot of people say, well, you have to do this. I don't understand it. So I'm a dungeon crawl.